Okay, crawl down in here, real nice and cozy with me, and I'll try and point out something else to you. As I said before, Goober and Gomer put the super heavy gauge wire replacement on some two ignition wires. Of course, I was wondering, why did they put the wire in the first place? Now, as I say, here's one connector that I'm going to let go. It's pretty good, so I'm going to leave it on there. I don't know if I can focus in here very good, but it's very important to you Avanti people. See this little this square plate like bracket here? You aren't going to see it too good, but there's like look at my ice pick barely goes around it. There's very little clearance between the corner of this bracket and that middle terminal of the ignition switch. And I tell you, it can't be eighth of an inch gap, if that. And then closer inspection, see over here, I can see where, yeah, something got hot here. See that all burnt like that? Now the ignition, I got her back in pretty good, and that spring's pretty strong on the ignition. I got the key in there, but so it does rock around a little bit. Like that's the way it was. There's a spring behind it. So I don't know if anybody's ever burned up one of these Avantis before because of this. But I'm taking this nut off. I'm taking that square bracket or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to grind off that edge. I don't like it. It's pretty darn close. In other words, when that touches that center terminal, I'm pretty sure that's pretty hot. It's not this one with the yellow. It's a, what was it? Remember way back? What the hell was it? My white lead goes to the very center one. The one I painted. All right, so I got it pretty good. In fact, you can see how it moves the keys. It's spring loaded. See that? I'm very excited. It's been too long coming to put on my Avanti emblem. Yay, cool, or what? But here's another issue. I'm going to take you in here on the back side. Here's something I ran across here. I have my reference later 63 Avanti down in the woods. Now you see how how the nut has like a flange on it, like a more or less a built-in washer. Well, I want to put one on over here on this end here, and see where the fiberglass meets fiberglass, and they use some sort of molding or mold to glue them together. Well, I got to take my Dremel tool and kind of grind that off a little bit so my nuts will fit right down flush. Now on my reference Avanti, the whole emblem is over just about a quarter of an inch, or an eighth. So it shows from one vehicle to the next, they're off just a little bit. But I want that to set flush. So I'm going to use my Dremel tool around there, just take a little off. And while we're looking in here, these Avantis are very vulnerable down here where this would be in the center. I did mix up some resin before I painted it, and I built that up, strengthened it, because they are vulnerable and they'll crack right there where they meet. And I'm sure a lot of Avantis are like that. So I would do that. I would mix up some resin and strengthen that. And everybody should have one of these, come in kind of handy. Off to the dentist. And I guess while we're here too, I also put in my power steering. I put 2 new lines on. I did replace these 2. I didn't replace the other 2. These were rough shape. The other ones look kind of difficult, so I'm going to let them go for now. My alternator, these brackets, quite a configuration they had here for the Avantis. A little weird. Got like 3 different spots down here where the adjuster bolt goes on. Just a little bit odd how this is created. Kind of hard to get in there and show you. I use a Dremel tool, like I showed you. Ground it out a little bit there. Kind of hard to show you good. Then I actually had to do a little bit of use this and kind of chipped away a little bit more there. Came out pretty good. Then kept the kids on the drums in the background. Okay, But I think I'm ready to put the emblem back in there, and I think the nut with its built-in washer will fit flush. How exciting. I have the emblem on. As you can see how nice that fits over there now. See that? I actually had to do a little carving around this area here to get that one to lay flat. I don't know what to refer this to as a seam bonding of some sort. And of course then I went and touched them all up with some black paint, brushed them up. They're pretty good shape, the original nuts. I wire brush them, cleaned them up, but nobody will ever see them in there, but I know that they won't ever rust. And I got my belts, new belts put on for my alternator, water pump, and the one for the their gates. I had Meyer Studebaker helping me out with my straighten out my mount problem. I went ahead and ordered a couple of new belts. Those belts through them. Nothing against them, but I like the solid ones. Here's the old ones. See, I prefer these solid ones as opposed to this style. There's a name for it, but I'm okay with that. We're going to use those. They're brand new. Next, we're going to be getting into. I'm waiting for my mounts, insulators issues. The grill. This car didn't have a grill on it. It's an early one. I wanted that earlier where it didn't have a grill. I know all the history of this car. There's no holes that were drilled anywhere in the front to accommodate it. So I'm pretty certain that it never had a grill. They said it never had a grill. And I was very excited on my reference vehicle that I purchased. I think I mentioned that this was one of the things that was in the car. And oh man, I was so excited when I saw that in the back window of this reference car, I'll call it. And only detail, I'm going to show you quick here if I can. I already can't even tell which side it was anymore. I think I did read somewhere that Studebaker actually commissioned Frigidaire, or one of them, a company, I think, to make these grills, which sounds kind of tacky. Listen, that's why it's like, yeah, it's like going into your refrigerator. It was a really nice condition, but it looked like I got bumped right here. So I had to, very carefully, I had to straighten these two. And boy, they spot weld them pretty good. But this one was broke loose. Straightened it real good. Put a little clamp on. I have a very good, I can do a lot of my own welding, but this guy's really good with stainless steel, aluminum. His last name is Steele. I always forget his first name. His last name's Steele. Local guy, nice little shop. Didn't even want to charge me. No, I needed it. Still gave him $10. What a great guy. All right, so I'm gonna start setting this up and find out. This is pretty creepy because there's never any holes drilled in here to accommodate the top part of the grill, and on the bottom there's no holes. So the top, I know what I'm going to do there after I jump with these lower holes. This is they say this was already out of the vehicle, my reference vehicle. It looks like from the factory or Studebaker, either welded or they kind of spot welded these washers. This one's gone. It's like a washer that was spot welded on there. And then over here, I should have showed you earlier, I already kind of started, I actually ground this off. Where the hell are we here? Yeah, ground that off kind of just to make it smoother. I thought maybe they were riveted on it first on the bottom, but if I flip it over, I should have ground it off. See how that flat, I ground it off. It looks like I had maybe, it was just kind of, it looks like from the other side I had some kind of a short stud, I'll call it. And I think that's all it was. I think there was 3 holes drilled in the bottom side of the fiberglass, and maybe they just went through the holes, but weren't fastened down with anything. But on the other hand, I'm going to have to take it down tomorrow. We got to take a little walk to the woods. I'm going to show you on my later 1963 Avanti reference car. We're going to go down to the woods tomorrow morning. It's a little chilly out. You see here? There's no holes here, so I'm going to have to drill holes here. I'm going to have to drill a hole. I'm pretty sure where I'm going to put them. It's this here as I'm having an issue figuring out. Now, my reference vehicle, which is a later 63. It has like 3 spots where it's like a little groove out of it. One in the middle, and one on each end. I'm going to show you that tomorrow because we're right in the middle of this. But mine doesn't have that. So I never had a grill put on. So I'm not sure if those were, you'll see on the reference when we go look at it, did they actually have, so you could access it and put a fastener from the grill to this on the inside. See here, sandwiched. All right, enough said. I have to put my original right side insulator back on because I got to get a nut on there and just loosely put it together. So when I jack the front of the engine up from underneath, I've done that before carefully, just to make sure everything stays kind of in alignment. So I'm going to put this back on. Another thing John Myers pointed out is this is definitely a replacement that they reworked this years ago when they had the engine out. Because they would never use a coarse thread, which is true. They would have used a fine thread. Because he says fine thread, there is noted more for not loosening or coming loose, which makes sense in anything. So that's why that is not original. I still, and I don't know why the salesperson at Studebaker International nicely explained my issue, just like when I had my front disc brakes. And when I said I wanted to talk to upper management, after I explained it to her, I thought she would have put me through. I was just looking for somebody with the most technical knowledge there on Studebakers. And I have talked to a guy there that's pretty sharp. So I don't know whether she felt that I didn't think she was doing very good at her job or what. But so that's too bad. We're going to find out later. We'll solve this mystery. And John Myers, he would be considered upper management because he's the father and has the most knowledge on Studebakers. But his help there, especially his children, his daughter-in-law, will help you resolve whatever mysteries you might find in restoring your Studebaker. I just drove down the woods with my E36 winter car. I just hate it. Paid $2,000 for this car, and it's never seen a winter. It's awful. But I gotta have a backup. This is our backup winter car. It's too bad. My son's got a real nice version, one exactly like this. Anyhow, we're down in the woods. My reference Avanti. I think I'll show you quick what's going on here with the grill situation. And if you can see this, see on this one here, this is later 63 Avanti. See, it's got a hole in the centers there. See it? See it? They're fairly large holes. They look like I thought they might have been an access hole to maybe to get the fasteners for the bottom of the grill where it goes down through. But in all those books, I don't really see anything. It really shows real detailed how the grill is attached to the vehicle. So on the top, I notice that there is a hole drilled in the middle right there. See it? So I go back on my 63. I'm going to bore that one. That's going to be my starter one right there. And then I can determine my 3 bolts. Holes pretty good there, but on the bottom, and it doesn't really, well, I should have washed it off a little bit. It doesn't really show where this goes up through over there. I don't really feel anything on the, see, I don't get it. See what I mean? Maybe, and I go back up. I don't know if the other grill goes over that far. We're going to see. Same here. There's one in the one in the middle. There's just no hole on top there. There's no hole there. Did they fill it? What's going on? I don't know. Same over here. Here's the hole that goes up through the bottom. That would be the bottom far left of the grill where something's supposed to go through there. Okay, so on mine, I'm definitely not going to put these big holes in there. No way. That really just ruins those. Nobody ever gets down that low, but still, come on. So I think I'm going to try to make some kind of studs for my grill for the bottom. And I am going to have to drill a small hole, just to keep it. We're going to see. Okay, well, this is a late model 63 Avanti. My other was an early one. That's like a 803. It's like a 365 or 55 on the assembly line. I'm going to go up and work on my grill now. While I was waiting for my proper thickness motor mounts to resolve my issue with the bell housing mount to the crossmember issue, because one won't line. So I'm waiting for those. So I started working on my grill, and then in that process, I've been kind of noticing just a small puddle after a period of time. This whole restoration antifreeze, and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. I thought it was following the oil pan. You can't see it. I thought maybe it was oozing out the front of the water pump or something, or the lower hose, and following around to the oil pan. But nope, you know what? Now you know what I'm looking at? It's a soft plug, or known as the freeze plug. These are similar to Fords. I've done them in the 60s vehicles, and they're tough to. You got to line them with very little finesse putting them in. Well, anyhow, this engine was restored or rebuilt at 75,000. I purchased it when the vehicle had almost 100,000 on it, so 25,000 miles on this engine. And I knew these soft plugs, they look like they've been replaced. Nobody would rebuild an engine, and I have all the documentation. No one would rebuild an engine without changing the soft plugs, I call them. Well, you know what? You can't build. Oh, I should have here. I have a mirror. Oh, it's in the toolbox. Here's my hand. One of those round mirrors with adjustable arm on it, and I can get way up in there. I sanded and clean and sanded and clean. The paints are coming off there. You wouldn't be able to see it. The soft plug's still in it. I'm not excited about this right now. But you know what? It hardly oozes a little bit, but I better go at it in case it's a problem later. I don't know. Or maybe I never really noticed when I drove it for a while, but I was leaking so much so much oil and tranny fluid. I guess I couldn't tell there was a antifreeze leak. Okay, my arm's getting tired here. Here's the ugly part. First, I took the stud. I had to heat up the exhaust manifold, get that stud out. That was Miracle 1. I'm going to show you that to you in a minute, because it'd been in there since 1963. Once I got that out, I was just about able to get my drill up in there. My nephew brought over a puller. I'll show you that in a minute. I drilled a small hole in the center. Not bad. I was able to get up in there by adjusting the front, moving this back and forth, which you can't do with one hand, to get an access. In the past, when I had my exhaust manifold off, I never replaced the stud. I did run a chaser threader on it, whatever, and that was good. So then and I put new nuts on it, and that was fine. But so I knew it was going to be. So I locked two. Everybody's done this. You lock two nuts together as best you can. There was no room up there either. And so you have something to turn on. You don't want to get on there with vice grips and make the old. You haven't got enough room. But there again, there's my torch. Boy, it was tough. It was close up in there. And so far, I haven't had to take my starter back out to work on this project. I don't know if you can see it a little bit. I can see how, boy, she came out. But in the center there's some material gone from years of the heat and exposure. I have through the years here's like an old Phillips head that wasn't any good that I put angle on. Sometimes I change it different when I'm trying to pull something out. But this is a nice kit my nephew brought over. My first phase, I drilled a hole. They say about a 1/4 inch or something. They did a smaller hole. You get this, and you can screw it in with this. But I also up in there, I used a wrench and carefully got it. Started the bolt, and then as it recessed, I turned the rest with, I think, a 13/16. Whatever the issue was, screw that right in there good. It was nice and tight. And then you screw it on into this guy, see? And you like jackhammer it back. Got it? Bam, bam. Well, but guess what? Those soft plugs are new. I've had rusty ones. They're bad enough. And they're what they call it. They're cup shape, 1.5 inches. I'm going to just say, I used to have a lot of Ford 289s that had that same cup. Chevys were a little tougher. Those were the disc type ones. Well, that was too bad because it didn't come off. So I drilled another hole and tried it, and I don't see it moving on one side or the other. So my next thing is, when I was under, you saw where I managed to get 3 holes drilled in, tried them all, at least bam, bam, thinking maybe it might start working out. And now I had to go in there with a bigger drill bit. I routed out those. Now I'm going to put this guy in there. I just tried it. A hook. I'm going to try to bam, bam around. And I just got this fear it's just going to keep slipping out. But so that's what some of the issues you run into restoring vehicles. Who had been there before? Gomer and Goober again. But I know that is. Somebody hit it with a screwdriver trying to drive one side in and just pricked it. Well, here we go. Good Lord. praise God. I'm making some progress. Okay, touch and go around. As I say, this is a pretty nice piece of equipment here, or tool. But even no matter how small the hole was, and I get that in there, driving it out, the freeze plug, soft plug was a little too thin and it would just tear through. Drilled more holes, used this, but I got to think, well, geez, the walls of them cylinders they're kind of close, they aren't that thick. So, Jesus, I guess you could, I've taken I've dealt with rusty soft plugs on my second vehicle I own, my 67 Ford Fairlane. But they were rusty. I was able to, sometimes you could pound them through. My son knows this must be a pretty big deal trying to get this plug out. If I would take a brand new hacksaw blade, break it in half, file the ends nice, because now I'm going to take it down underneath, so that way I could, not much room, those soft plugs, I kept carefully sanding until I got to the edge of the block. Boy, it's tough to determine that. I did it in 2 different spots, and taking it down there, it was just so, oh boy, believable. And I tried with my good punch and hammer here to knock it in a little bit. Didn't really move. Then I tried my little brazen torch a little bit. There she is. Way up. I got things already. See it up in there? See, so I used my brazen thinking, I know heat will expand things. I thought, well, maybe I'll expand and contract a little bit, loosen it up. And as I say, because it's a new plug, so they don't come out that easy. Never took out. So yes, I kept up in there with a filing by hand, just an inch or 2 back and forth, and trying to get there and see. So I did 2 slots in her. They were pretty close to the block. Then I tried my punch one more time with this good old boy. He comes in handy, I think we got a good name, or the Beast, whatever. I love that. I actually paid $5 for that at the flea market. But very careful. I took my punch. See this? I've used this in the past. There we got up in there in the corner of her. I'm going to bang a little bit more, so it turns a little bit more. Then you got to get behind it here and try to pop it out. I think it's doable. Always take your time in these situations. Boy, that block isn't that thick, and I don't think I heard it. Oh, geez, that would have been awful. And, I don't think I cut into it. So I'll get the plug out, get it nice and clean, and the next ugly part is putting the new one in. Boy, you got to drive them in. Maybe we'll see that soon, hopefully successfully. Boy, I got spiritual today. Here's a saw plug. I wasn't just taking it out. I was wondering why I had this issue with it leaking. Can't make it out too good, but after everything failed, I straightened her up and painted it just so I could make sure what was going on. I'm trying to figure out why it was leaking. So I thought it was okay. Here's where I had the hacksaw out there very carefully there and there. Oh, what a terrible. Moving just about a ½ inch back and forth and trying not to get into the casting of the block. I was trying to get as close as I could. And they're good. I said, and I'll use these around here. Sometimes I use broken hacksaw blades for just this kind of thing. So, because I got a couple of them now. This is about what. So, close examination. You probably can't see it too good. And with my mirror, my round one and my square mirror, I could kind of tucked up way up under the engine. See what I'm getting at? I was trying to, when I was up in the engine, I was trying to determine, and I could see like this one spot right there on the bottom. See that?
you can't, but you know what I'm doing. And it looked to me, see a little bit of, I thought maybe somebody driving in with a screwdriver and did a corner and punched it through. Because these looked new. But you know what, closer examination, man, it was rusting right there. It was starting to go bad. They've been there 25 years. I know, they're pretty sure they aren't originals. So, and then, I got this black book here so you can see them better. Myers book. So my nephew, as I feel up your finger on the bottom side of the, inside the block, and it felt like there was kind of like a glob of casting there from you know, when it was at the foundry. And I think it kind of blocked the sludge a little bit. And then that was one of my theories right away. And my nephew said he had a friend that has a Ford V8 block flathead. He said sometimes they leave sand in them and they would overheat. But I never really had any heating issues with this vehicle. It's been good. Then, so in the process, he put his finger up in the hole of the, and he felt like, he goes, hey, there's something in there. And I go, what, a foreign thing? He goes, yeah, it doesn't feel like dirt or grunge. So he dug around and dug around, and I got my cryos. I don't have them prepared right here. They're coming good. Excuse me, type they use at the hospital. I went in and grabbed it, kept wiggling around, and they dug this out. It's a machine thread screw with a square nut. I'm pretty sure there's nothing on the other end, but it is rusted right to a point here. How is everybody out there working on these? What part of the vehicle? How could that possibly get in the walls of the casted block? So there you go. There's a little mystery for you. If anybody recognizes this thing, where it looks like something would, I don't get it. What part of the, has maybe adjustment on your, outside your carburetors and different type of things would have that kind of a thread with a nut. Maybe it's somehow held and you screw something in. All right. That said, I'm gonna. That said, the next thing I did was, so I figured, well, you know what? It's a good time to flush her out. So that's what I did. Got the hose up here. Already did a pretty good job of it. Open wide open. I take the hose back out the bottom of the radiator. Stick it way down in there. Can you see all this? Then I stick it over this side. See it? Let it go for a while. Then I go over the other bank over here, I'll call it. Let it set for a while. Then I went down underneath and put my, got way up there, got my hand over as best I could over where the soft plug hole was. So I feel like it's flushing it around. That's about what I'm going to do. Alright, shut her down. Oh, I got it wide open now. The reason why I'm sharing this excitement. Come on, come on. I like those pistol type ones. I can't seem to get one to hold up. One of the old Gilmore type pistols. Okay, got that. Which is okay. Antifreeze is all a sticky a mess. And I've got my nice my squeegee over here. And there I brought back the creeper. I had crawled under there. It was one time cardboard ain't going to help me. Got me out the floor so I could flush in there. I took the hose right down there and flushed it too. And these are great. The squeegee from one of those farm and family type of places. These really are pretty good if you got a decent cement floor. And all that, we're going to go back over here. So, while that was taking place, I also want to say, as soon as I got that plug out, I did. I went and dug out my grandmother's old Bible. Oh, God. And there we go, kind of a little reminiscent. This is from 1880 something or other. Oh, gee, I'm going to tell you about this a little bit. 1884. In the old days, they used to do is give an autograph book. You write little notes and pass around. Some of the family names. She was related to Raleigh's. And there was a family picture in here. I know most of those people in the picture. A.R. Briggs from Honeoye, which is right there too, blah, blah, blah. All that. Nice letter from Aunt Junie. She was a foster child on the farm here. Okay, well, thank you. Oh, my God. Hey, boy, that's one hurdle. So that's what's going on there. And just about got this out, all excited about living again. And the UPS brought this to me. Isn't that great? I go, oh, my God, here we go. Back to the motor mounts. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Man, I got enough copies of the bill. These are apparently the correct, oh look at this is the correct front motor mounts for a 63 Avanti. And there they are, look how thick they are. God darn it, one of the original ones, the two I took out, one was broke, and the other one I'm sure I put it in, I saved it somewhere, though I would never reuse it, and it was thinner than that. That's how I was also distracted on whether I had the right front motor mounts or not. Because I think when Goober and Gomer, when they had the engine out, for some reason, I think they ordered motor mounts, got the wrong ones, or those, because they aren't originals that were in there. And on top of that, they lost the spacer, which is the first time I've seen this thing. There you go. John Meyer sent it to me. I guess that's a spacer I got put on the left side. Transmission bell housing mount to the cross member. And I got to look at my nephew on that. I got to learn how to look up comments because we're learning here. My nephew, somebody did comment that in the last video there that he mentioned this spacer. Of course, after I've already kind of figured it out through John. So thank you. Always have input to our comments. Correct me or help other people figure these things out. Okay, I have so many loose ends. I have to back up. I got like nuts out for the motor mounts, and these are for the radiator. I had to back off on the exhaust. Can't weld it until I get all the front issues out of the way, like that soft plug. Got these picked out here for the top of the grill. These go to the shroud. So I'm going to jump back onto putting in my grill and button up some of the front. And then by then the floor will be, I'll squeegee it, dry it off, and then we'll go back to crawling under there. I think I'm either going to tackle the mount issue or the soft plug issue first. I'm not sure. I need a break from that freeze plug. Oh, geez. So, all right, but I am curious how my rear mount's going to turn out once I think once we raise the engine up that much. Maybe that will make the right side bolt line up. I have a hard time getting through my cross member. Okay, got all that? I'd like to also point out this nice Myers Studebaker calendar book. First I was like, I don't like this kind of crap, but it was like, and then I go, hey, it's got I think it's a Studebaker type stripe, right? It's got Myers Studebaker, Duncan Falls, Ohio, and their phone number. That's a good idea. You know what? I'm going to put it right nicely into my glove compartment of my car. Take good care of it. So really go good with my vehicle. Thank you, the Myers people. I did order a couple new belts, and they sent me. These are the old used ones. I like this type here, the solid. I don't know if there's a name for this. And I don't see this type. I don't care for that type. Different people have different opinions. But when I got my new ones from Myers, they're both this style. I already put them on the car. I'm going to use them. I like the solid. And lastly, before I forget, it's like, why did they have to put a spacer in there? I don't get it. Is the car designed something that was off a little? They couldn't correct it? But that's a little odd to put that under one side. Get some comments on that. What happened there? When they were developing, there's some reason they said, hey, we got to slide that in there because what? I have my grill installed. I'm rather pleased with it. I'm going to first by going off again on the Hillman company. Mr. Hillman, I like to use stainless steel washers on a lot of this restoration. There you go. Here's what they call their 1/4-inch stainless steel. Look how sloppy it is. Won't go on a 5/16. But then if you really want a good fit, you got to go to a 3/16. That actually fits pretty nice. Look at that. Why is that, Mr. Hillman? That's how sloppy that is. But I wanted stainless steel. As I say, this car didn't have a grill. And oh, Jacob, you in the refrigerator? Better not be eating all that cheesecake. They had so cold. I guess these were farmed out to Frigidaire or some. Anyhow, here we go. So though I'm not sure what they did have correct on these vehicles, how these were installed, but I like going with this here. I went with an Allen wrench. These are actually chrome. I was looking for chrome or stainless steel. I used a stainless steel big washer, close mostly 1/4 inch, but because I wanted a nice surface contact with this fiberglass. As I stated before, these Avantis are a little weak in here as far as they'll crack They should have made them thicker. Same behind here. I'm not going to take under it, but I had gloves on. I mixed up some resin and really globbed it in the back because they always seem to crack right down through here. In fact, I got a couple light cracks yet. But so I built that up real good. What irritates me about these is without the grill, I really spent a lot of time under here restoring this. I don't know if you can see up in there yet, but geez, I mean, I really got it looking pretty good. But there's no way of getting in there to clean and wax it in the future. Once the radiator's in place, that's it. So that irritates me. As I say, the grill, I did put one fastener on in the middle down here where I could access it by drilling a hole from the inside down. But I did not want to go boring big holes like on the late model 63 Avanti reference car. I didn't want to drill a hole. See, there's no way of fastening this one, the one on the left and right side, because I don't want to drill through that. Over here I was able to drill and able to get in behind it with it took a little bit, but I got a nut on her and tightened her up. So I'm happy with that. And maybe if I took it in and out a few times, I could have got it really, I could have tweeted it a little bit better. So I don't like the way it fits. It doesn't fit real nice on these bottom corners. But as I said, I didn't want to put a lot of pressure on my draw this down. I was afraid maybe in the future it might crack the fiberglass. So this one here, I actually put a little, I forgot what size, smaller than the 1/4 inch, I forgot what size, machined screw there. And then I put a nut on the back side, a washer, so there's a little gap between where that fastens down to this, because I didn't want to, I'm happy. Jacob, get on that refrigerator. Okay, so that's a little on the radiator. I had the radiator rebuilt, big bucks, $900. And I wasn't real pleased with. I'll show you it for a while. But it's okay on my radiator. Oh my God, this is a good way of putting a hole in the radiator there. These bolts, there's 3 of them. They go from the radiator, supposed to go through here and into there, but it's not very thick. From the factory, they drilled them and tapped them, but one's almost stripped out, but there's no way. And before I was able to put a nut on the back side when the grill wasn't up. I can't do that anymore. So I've come up with this brainchild idea. I'm putting the original factory bolts from the back side, tighten them down without stripping them. I'm going to put the radiator up here, and then I'm going to put my lock washer and washer on this side. So that's going to be a little different from the factory. It'll be more secure the radiator better. Okay. Oh, I like my look at that. Ooh, yeah. What else?